This is Dr. Jacques Jaspitri of SoHo-MD here at the Bullpen at the JPM Healthcare Conference. I'm here with Rajiv Datar Dr. Rajiv Datar from Chromatin. Hi, Rajiv.
Good morning.
Morning. Could you tell us about yourself and Chromatin?
Sure. I've been in biotechnology right from the day I graduated. I have a background in both chemistry, biochemistry, chemical and biochemical engineering. Completed my PhD in Sweden. I started in Sweden, ended up finishing it at MIT and did my postdoc at MIT, and then got involved in the biotech scene. That's where I first began to think about entrepreneurism when I was at MIT. Until then, I was working for a Fortune 100 company in Sweden, and so it didn't really...
Wait, how did you end up in Sweden? What was the...
It was because I did my undergrad in England, and at that time, there were not many jobs in chemical and biochemical engineering in England. Whereas the two big companies that were servicing the biotech processing area field was Alfa Laval and Pharmacia.
Okay.
And so there was a job offer at the university in Manchester, and I applied for that, and that's how I ended up in Sweden.
That's awesome. And how did you make the transition to MIT?
That was a joint research project between the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm and MIT.
Okay.
And so the last year of the PhD program, the three students that came from Stockholm to MIT and from MIT to Stockholm. So that's how I ended up coming to MIT.
That's amazing. And then how did that lead you to be with Chromatin?
I've been in this for a long time, and that's a long story. So I shorten as much as I can. It's, when I was at MIT, there was okay, let me step back. What Chromatin is doing is revolutionizing a 123-year-old process and technique. It began in 1900. It's called chromatography, which is absolutely essential for biological purification. And it began in 1900 with a gentleman called Michael Sweat, the Russian botanist, who packed a glass column with some resin and separated chlorophyll. So you get one peak. From that point to now, it has remained essentially a packed column. But with the new modalities like monoclonal antibodies and gene therapy, that's not proving to be adequate. So what Chromatin has done is turned it on its head. Instead of a packed column, we move the resin around we pump the resin around like in a conveyor belt. Okay. And we do all the operations simultaneously. And that is a dramatic improvement in productivity, 10 to 20-fold better than what you have in there. But the way I got into this was we had tried this when I was at MIT, way back, with continuous purification, and it didn't actually work. Okay. Many reasons. The resins were not strong enough, the membranes were not good enough, all sorts of reasons. But from my days at MIT to now, I've gone to drug development, equipment design, did my own entrepreneurial stuff. So we did a deal with Johnson & Johnson in March of 2020, just before the pandemic hit, on a small asset molecule. And we're cooling our heels for almost 18 months. And suddenly I get a phone call from Christian Engstrom saying, Rajiv, he said, I believe you had done some work in this area a long time ago and it didn't work. I said, no, it didn't work. We didn't get it to work. He said, I have a company that apparently has made it work. Are you interested in looking at it? So I said, yeah. So that's how he introduced me to Chromatin, and I said, no, it's like your firstborn, right? You tried it the first time, it didn't work, so let's make it work this time. That's how I ended up coming to Chromatin as a CEO. That's amazing. So that's a fundamental tool, is chromatography. So this is really going to have a huge ripple effect in biotech. Yes, and we are actually looking to establish this as a platform for cell and gene therapy, not so much cell but gene therapy. Adeno-associated viruses, lentiviruses, plasmid DNA, especially mRNA, the big impetus in mRNA. Wow, so because people can get much better results with this platform versus the standard chromatography. Way better. It's very cost effective. They're small systems, they run continuously, so you don't need large tanks and 1 meter, 2 meter diameter columns, it's hard to pack those. Totally. And also this makes it life, and the whole system, except for the stainless steel part, everything is disposable. Wow. So use it one time for one campaign and sterile, dispose it off. It's all plastics, gets recycled, and put on another flow path, and you're running again. In 24 hours, you're running another batch of a completely different product. That's amazing. It's transformative of the whole industry. It's pretty amazing. And then, what are you working on now? We are working to actually, we launched the first process development unit in September of this year in Boston. And this year we're focusing on a real commercial launch. So its first unit was bought by MIT. And we got about 3 or 4 clients who are now lined up for sales this year. So 2024 is a crucial year for us, essentially to start the sales and then to scale up into GMP production units.
And what's your ask of the Bullpen community?
I got introduced to the Bullpen about this time last year, and it's been very informative in terms of being able to connect with people, connect with those who've got different expertise from different areas. And our ask has always been to be able to network and to be able to speak to people who can help us either meet people as resources. For human resource, for example, you need a senior director. We get there, and plus some potential funding avenues. We're okay for funding right now. We're lined up, but still, the ask is essentially networking and to meet with people with potential clients as well in the Bullpen.
That's exciting. If you want to learn more about Dr. Rajiv Datar and Chromatin, you can go to bullpen.ventures, and his link in bio will be there.